90% of coaches don't make enough to survive long term. Most quit before they even get close to success. But what if I told you that there's a proven way to building a coaching business? One that generates 10,000, 40,000, 60,000 plus a month. I've been a career coach for over a decade, scaled my business to over 7 figures, and have helped over 50 coaches build their business to 6 figures and beyond. I've seen what works and what doesn't work. Today, I am going to teach you how to build a $1 million coaching business by breaking it down into 3 simple steps. There's 3 phases to building a $1 million plus career coaching business. Phase 1 is all about consistency in marketing and sales. Phase 2 is all about consistency in client success and operations, and phase 3 is to scale. We build the foundations in phase 1 and 2, and we grow the skyscraper in the 3rd phase. So let's dive into it. Phase 1 is all about building consistency in marketing and sales. You know that you are ready to go to phase 2 when you have a very strong offer, a predictable way to generate leads, and you have a mechanism to turn those leads into paying clients. The focus here is not client success or operational. Here, what you want to do is just sell a high-ticket, one-on-one VIP offer. The way I want you to think about this is white glove VIP treatment. It's not about building something scalable. You only deliver the service through one-on-one, maybe some office hours, and a Slack channel. You want to simplify client success. And this is the part you're doing the unscalable. And I don't want you to overcomplicate client success here. The focus has to be marketing and sales. So let's talk a little bit more about marketing and sales and how to build those systems and processes. First, it starts with having a very strong offer. That is the foundation of your marketing and sales systems and processes. A strong offer will help you attract more clients and turn those cold clients that you're reaching out to into paying clients. So where do I want you to start? I want you to start on LinkedIn. If you're a career coach, there's no better platform than LinkedIn to attract job seekers. This is simply because you want to fish where the fish are. And there's no better platform where you'll find active job seekers looking for career coaches to help. Now, how do you build out your LinkedIn? Number 1, turn your LinkedIn's profile into a landing page versus a resume. Number 2, have a very strong content strategy. If you're looking for more content strategies, check out the rest of the videos on my YouTube channel. And number 3, you need to have a very strong lead magnet and a way to attract more inbound leads. Now, all your leads are not going to come from inbound, which this is why it's very important that you have a lead generation machine. Now, there's 3 ways to generate leads from LinkedIn. 1, inbound. Great, easiest leads, easiest to close, but the reality is over 90% of your leads won't come from inbound. So the second 2 options is 1, warm leads, and the second one is cold leads. Let's break them one at a time. The second form and most productive types of leads are warm leads. These come from anybody that's liked, comments, and views your profile. The better you do with your LinkedIn posts and the more traction your profile gets, the easier it will be for you to farm out this warm leads. The good thing about these leads is that they're gonna have a higher reply rate than cold leads simply because they already know who you are. Maybe they haven't reached out to you yet, but they're at least slightly interested because they've engaged with your content. Now, if you're just starting out, you might not have enough leads from inbound and warm outbound to be able to build your pipeline and have a predictable number of leads that's required for you to have the sales calls and number of clients to reach your financial goals. And in that case, you're gonna have to rely on cold leads. And the easiest way to get better replies on cold leads is to have a very strong LinkedIn profile, strong content, and a very clear niche. The idea here is that you understand how many leads are required for you to get a client. And the math is simple. And if you can understand this math, then you're gonna be able to understand what's required to scale your business. What I found is that on average, our client takes about 40 to 70 leads to get 1 client. And the range is based on how many of those leads are coming from inbound, warm outbound, and cold outbound. The colder the leads are, the harder it is to convert them into clients. And that's why it's really important that you're tracking this data as you're focusing in phase one to be able to get predictability. Once you are gathering those leads and you're inputting them into a CRM, the next step is to ensure that you are cultivating that relationship through either messages on the DMs or through a very strong lead magnet. Now, there's plenty of lead magnets that you can implement in this part, but my favorite lead magnet is a masterclass. The best conversion rates from leads to sales calls come from a strong masterclass. The reason why I think masterclass are converting the best is simply because it's still very hard to fake a masterclass with AI. I still think it's kind of impossible, at least at this point, versus if you send an ebook that could be written by ChatGPT. So if your leads spend 1 hour in a masterclass looking at you and listening to your strategies, they're able to see what you bring to the table and are highly more likely to schedule sales calls and pay you for your services. From there, you would have sales calls. And the idea in the sales calls is that you're showing them the transformation and you're not selling your time for money, because that is a huge mistake. What I want you to think about when it comes to marketing and sales is that every lead starts with seconds, then minutes, hours before they decide to spend thousands of dollars and months with you. So a really great post, a client is spending seconds with you. Then you message them in the DMs because you're using the warm lead strategies, and now you're spending minutes with them. That conversation that you're spending in the DM and spending minutes with them will translate to them attending to your masterclass, which is hours, right? Or 1 hour. And then that masterclass is going to get them sold on scheduling a sales calls, where they're now going to be able to decide if they want to spend thousands of dollars with you in the next couple of months finding their dream job with you. Before moving on to phase two, it is really important that you have very solid systems and processes and you understand what this looks like. So if we're building a $1 million business, then you need to understand the math. So let me give you an example. At this part, let's say that you realize that it takes you 40 leads to get 1 client. Generally, the funnel will look something like this. 40 new leads a week generates 20 people register to your masterclass. 10 of them show up. 5 of them schedule a call. 80% of them are qualified and show up to the call, which means 4 of them. And with a 25% conversion rate, you're going to be able to convert 1 client a week. If you're able to know that, then you know that you need to get 40 new leads a week to get 1 client. At $5,000, that allows you to generate $20,000 in sales every single month. And you right there just build $250,000 in your business. Now, you're probably saying, Daniel, what about the $1 million? And we're going to get there. What we want to do in phase one is to build a foundation to $250,000 million business so that we can then fix client success, because at this point you're getting 1 client a week, and if you're still doing an unscalable way of doing the career coaching and you're trading time for money on a one-on-one service, you're going to run out of time. So once you're getting to the point that you're getting 1 to 4 clients a month consistently, then we want to transition to phase two. Now that you've graduated from phase one and you have consistency in your marketing and sales process and you're generating on average of over 1 client a week, let's talk about phase two, which is all about consistency in client success and operations. This is where we start thinking about building the systems and processes to deliver a scalable career coaching business. We start with really reamping your client success, because up to this point, you've been delivering your services on a one-on-one basis. You've been delivering your services and having one-on-one calls and doing that on a scalable. But by this time, you've already worked with at least 10 clients and you've seen that you're repeating yourself over and over. And this is where I want you to think about the 80-20 rule. What is the 80% of the work that you continue to repeat to all of your clients? And can we deliver that in a more scalable way? And the answer is yes. If you know that you're repeating yourself on some of the strategies on the fundamentals of building a resume, the fundamentals of how to find the right companies to apply for, the fundamentals on networking, the fundamentals of preparing for an interview and salary negotiation. These are the things that we can do to build a scalable workbook, materials, examples, templates, and we can record videos like the one you're watching, which you're teaching the material to your clients so that they can watch it at their own time, and then we can then minimize the number of one-on-ones that you need to do to deliver the service and still have a couple of them sprinkle in through your program to focus on the 20% that's very different for all your clients. Because every client will have differences because they have different backgrounds, goals, and aspirations. And this is why I want you to think about building a client success system that allows you to understand what are the right inputs that are required for your clients to do, so that if they do and execute it with your help, are able to generate predictable results. A really good analogy that I want you to think about how this could look like is think of a doctor's office. When you go to the doctor's offices for your yearly checkup, the doctor has systems and processes to create efficiencies without sacrificing client results. So let's talk about it. You walk into the doctor's office and you have an administrative technician checking you in. They check your insurance, they check what is the pharmacy that you want your prescriptions at, and they'll have you wait in the lobby until you get called back by either a nurse or a physician assistant. The nurse will call you to the back. They'll do what the nurse, the physician assistant can do, like put you on a scale, do some of your vitals, and then put you in one of the many little rooms that the doctor's office has. And then they'll tell you that the doctor will be right in. And the doctor comes in, spends 5 to 10 minutes, does only the things that the doctor can do, and that allows the doctor to see multiple clients in that hour versus if they were just doing all the work themselves. If they were checking you in, doing the vitals, and doing all of it, they might only be able to see 1 or 2 clients an hour. And this creates efficiency without sacrificing client results. And it's the same way that I want you to think about building a career coaching business and the way that you want to deliver a client success. I want you to see yourself as the doctor. You come in and do the things that only you can do because of your unique background and your experience with helping with clients. And so what we want to do is build a system through onboarding, through accountability, through checkups, through community that will allow that to do 80% of the teaching and allow you to do the 20% that creates the most impact through one-on-ones. Now, we can go into client success, and I have tons of videos in my YouTube channel talking about client success. But the main idea here is that we're building more scalable processes. We're going to transition from delivering one-on-one, and you might be spending 8 hours per client, to delivering an even better service with more accountability, more resources, more templates, and even maybe more coaches. And instead of spending 8 one-on-ones, you might only be able to spend 2 hours or 4 30-minute sessions. And that's how I want you to shift your mindset to build a scalable system. Here, the key factors here is that you also have KPIs just like you have in marketing. You understand how many one-on-ones are required to get somebody the transformation you promised them in sales. You understand how to get your clients to continue to be engaged and show up to the calls and execute, and you're tracking progress and holding them accountable to execution. So it's really important. To me, there's 3 main pillars in client success to building a very successful program, and that is strategy, accountability, and community. Once you build a successful client success department, you are now going to be thinking about what is the team that's required to build $1 million business. And to me, it really depends how lean and mean you want your team, or if you're really looking to scale this past $85,000 a month. If you're looking to build a more of a lifestyle business and try to simplify this, you are going to be able to do this with maybe 2 VAs and maybe 2 part-time coaches. The way I want you to think about this is that I want your first hire to focus on marketing and sales. I want them to spend a lot of time doing your LinkedIn engagement and your lead generation. They're going to be your appointment setters. They're going to be the ones that are driving the traffic all the way to your masterclass and getting them scheduled to your sales calls. You will still need to do sales. Sales is one of the last things you're going to be able to delegate. That task alone should take a VA to do about 20 to 25 hours a week to get you 1 client a week. Then the remaining time, this particular VA can help you with client success. They can act as like the check-in person in the doctor's office and even as a nurse to make sure that your clients are getting what they paid for, that they're executing the program, and then they're watching the videos and showing up to your calls on time, and they have done your homework. If you want to take the hiring to the next level and you want to grow a team, some of the things that I would suggest you look into is hiring other doctors or even specialists to take on some of those activation points. For example, you might realize that you hate doing resumes. That is something I did. I suck at spelling, so hiring someone to do resumes was one of the most important hires that I had to do early on in my career coaching business. Now, you might say, hey Daniel, I love resumes, but I hate doing interview prep. I hate doing mock interviews. So in this scenario, you might want to hire a part-time coach to do some of the mock interviews for your one-on-one clients. Now, here's the thing, you don't need to hire people full-time to do these jobs. What we found by working with dozens of coaches is that the best solution for this is to find recruiters that are working in the companies that your clients want to work at and pay them anywhere between $50 to $150 an hour to take over an activation point. Now, this makes really good financial sense because if you're charging $5,000 for a career coaching transformation to help somebody get a job, and it takes 4 hours to deliver the service on one-on-one because the rest of the program is delivered through group coaching, online videos, scripts, manuals, and office hours, then even if you're paying a part-time coach $100 an hour, that's only $400 of cost associated to part-time coaches, and that is saying that you delegate all the one-on-one calls. Now, if you want to keep some of them, then obviously you spend less on coaches, and this makes it really profitable and scalable. Now, what you need to think about next is running your business by the numbers, using data to inform you to make decisions. Let's talk about the numbers that are required for you to have a 50% profit margin business. Again, this phase is where we talk about client success and operations. And within operations, we think about HR and we think about finances. Let's talk about finances. If you want 50% profit margins in a career coaching business, here's how you do it. You allocate 10% for marketing efforts. This is anything to do with the appointment setter, if you hire a ghostwriter, or anything to support you to generate the leads. Then you allocate another 10% for your salesperson. This is usually what it takes, the commission, to hire a very good salesperson to sell a high ticket offer. And then you allocate 20% to client success. So if you're charging $5,000 to help somebody get a really high paying job, 20% of $5,000 is $1,000. That is your budget to deliver that service. Now, if we talked about it, if you're able to build this program with 4 one-on-one sessions, even if they're 1 hour long and you're paying part-time coaches $100 an hour, that leaves you $600 to pay for software and other members of your team to deliver an even better service. You can even pay for a resume writer to do the resume and still have money left over to have a very profitable career coaching business. Now, that then leaves you 60%. You can allocate another 10% of that 60% towards administrative costs. That's any software, that's anything else that it costs to run your business. If you have an office like the one we're here, that goes into that administration cost. If you have a bookkeeper, a CPA, or a coach, that goes into that budget. So you have 20% for marketing and sales, you have 20% for delivering the service, you have 10% for administration, leaving you with 50% profit margins in a very, very, very lucrative, scalable, and impactful career coaching business. So when you're able to see that your business has all the systems in place, from how to generate leads, to converting those leads into paying clients, to delivering a high quality service from you or even part-time coaches, and has over 50% profit margins, then you, my friend, are ready to scale. And now you can go back to marketing and say, okay, I know that I need 40 leads to get 1 client. How do I get to a point where I'm getting 4 clients a week or 5 clients a week? And if you're doing 4 clients a week, that's $20,000 a week, times 4 is $80,000. And you can see now you're doing close to $1 million a year in sales in a very scalable way. And that's what the beautiful thing about building a business with systems and processes. If you know exactly what is the input that's required to get the output that you want, then you know how to build the business of your dreams. And now you can go to phase 3. Phase 3 is all about scale. Now that the foundation of your business is stable, that you know exactly what your inputs is, now you can get fancy. Now you have the budget to go hire more experts. Now you have the budget to experiment with ads. Now you have the budget to even hire and increase the caliber of the coaches that you deliver. And this is how you take the business to the next level. So if you're still watching this, I want to congratulate you, because this is exactly what you need to do to grow your business to 7 figures and beyond. At the end of the day, our results speak for themselves. Proof is more important than any promise that I can give you. So I invite you, come to our website, opni.co/success stories. Check out our success stories and testimonials. And if you're interested to do this with our team to ensure that you get proven results and you grow your coaching business, then apply to work with us.